Chief, would move forward.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name's David Kunihiro. That spelling is Kunihiro. I'm the Chief of Police for the Alamogordo Police Department. Standing behind me, I have a lot of support. I'd like to introduce Lieutenant Chris Hughes, Lieutenant Ryan Glidden. We've got Chaplain Torres here, Sabrina Padilla with Acting City Manager Stephanie Hernandez, City Manager Ashley Smith, Lieutenant David McCulley, Susan Mayer Payne, Commissioner Dusty Wright, Sergeant Mark Ascaro, and then several officers to my side to support us, which I greatly appreciate. Thank you. We come before you today with heavy hearts. As a family, a department, and a community grieve the loss of Officer Anthony Ferguson. The unimaginable tragedy, losing one of our own, has happened again. The violence directed at our men and women in uniform all over the country must end. Saturday, July 15th, at 02:18 hours, officers attempted to conduct a traffic stop on a vehicle for driving without any headlights or tail lights. The vehicle fled and later crashed into a light pole at 1st Street and Delaware Avenue. The driver exited the vehicle and began to run away. Officer Ferguson and other officers with the department gave chase. Officer Ferguson was critically wounded by the suspect during the chase. Other officers on scene rendered aid to Officer Ferguson and others continued to track the suspect. Officers were eventually able to apprehend the suspect. ABD officers and AMR rendered aid to Officer Ferguson on scene. AMR transported Officer Ferguson to Gerald Champion Regional Medical Center for continuing life-saving measures. The emergency department provided quality care as they prepared Officer Ferguson to be life-flighted to UMC Hospital in El Paso, Texas. Officer Ferguson arrived to UMC with major trauma to his head and face. Medical staff continuously worked on Officer Ferguson. Unfortunately, Officer Ferguson succumbed to his injuries at 10:51 p.m. last night, July 16th, 2023. Officer Ferguson served the Alamogordo community for over 11 years. He was a field training officer, and he was assigned to the patrol division. Officer Ferguson is survived by his mother, his father, 4 brothers, a son, and a daughter. The criminal investigation for this matter is being held by the New Mexico State Police. We will be conducting an internal investigation as to the actions of our officers. At this time, the New Mexico State Police and the Otero County Sheriff's Office will be responding to calls within the city in an effort to allow our officers and staff some time to grieve. We believe Officer Ferguson will be processed home from Albuquerque later this evening. We plan to post the route of the procession and details on our Facebook page later today when we have a more definitive time. We ask for your continued prayers for Officer Ferguson's family and his loved ones. We're also deeply grateful for everyone who has extended support to Officer Ferguson's family and our department during this time. The amount of support has been an overwhelming blessing. At this time, I'd like to turn this over to Mayor Susan Payne.
Good morning. Yesterday, I spent much time sitting with a distraught mother who just a short 41 years ago gave birth to a baby boy. I listened to many stories about when he was little and later as he grew up with his brothers. and the immense pride she had for him and all her children. She told me about when Tony came to her and he said he wanted to be a police officer, and how she was concerned, but she supported him. Officer Ferguson was her baby. We shared stories about the close bond that moms often share with their children. And my heart hurts as I even dared to consider what she must be feeling at that moment. Just a week earlier, she had the ability to pick up a phone and call any one of her children. And this weekend, that ability was taken away from her by the evil that Officer Ferguson encountered on July 15th. And this should never have happened. It is my opinion that this person should have never been released from custody. This entire incident occurred because a dangerous man who we know had been previously accused of breaking the law decided that preserving his freedom was worth more than the life of a person who we tasked with protecting and defending the freedoms of our law-abiding citizens. There's so many emotions that come with a tragedy like this, and we know this. We've been through this before. Sadness and anger and frustration are certainly among the top. And many of us use social media to channel those emotions and express our opinions about how this could have ended differently or why this even happened to begin with. I too am incredibly frustrated about this whole situation. So today I'm calling on our citizens to channel those emotions into something positive that will honor the name of Officer Tony Ferguson. In the time it takes to create a social media post, you can draft an email or make a phone call to all of our legislators and our governor. And you can let them know that you believe that they should revisit the bail reform laws, what we call catch and release, that are devastating our communities. We, as law-abiding citizens, have the right to the same protections as those that are afforded to those who purposely choose to break the law. Together, we have the power to effect real change in our state by taking these simple steps. This is not about politics or which letter is listed on your voter registration card. This is about the ability of all our citizens to feel safe and have confidence knowing that everything is being done to minimize the risk to our community. We need to stop slapping our law enforcement officers in the face by allowing criminals that they risk their lives to apprehend back on the streets due to this completely flawed policy. One person or 7 people alone may not make the same kind of impact as a community of 31,000. We are all in this together, and we will all get through this together. In the meantime, stay safe, stay vigilant, and please continue to pray for Officer Ferguson's family, friends, and all of our law enforcement and first responders that are risking their lives every day to protect us. May we never take that for granted. God bless you all.
Just heard the comments of this group from Chief of Police here in Alamogordo, David Hero, and also Susan Payne, addressing this situation which took the 41-year-old Anthony Ferguson, who was an 11-year member of the Alamogordo Police Department. He served in the Patrol Division